Every moment in life has the potential to be phenomenal. At Amy Boyle Photography, we specialize in capturing those moments, whether it's for your business, a milestone event, or a personal portrait. As the host of the Speaking of Phenomenal podcast, I know the power of storytelling, and I bring that same passion to my photography. Let's create images that celebrate who you are and what you stand for. Visit amyboylephotography.com to schedule your session today. Welcome to the Speaking of Phenomenal podcast, Susan. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you, Amy. I'm so happy to be here.
I cannot wait for you to give our audience an introduction to the phenomenal you.
My name is Susan Boensch. I'm 55-year-old Canadian living in beautiful Southern California. I am actively involved in a women's surf club called Wahine Kai, and I have become the director for the LA chapter. And I'd really like to share the experience this has brought to me, building community in a new place and what it has meant.
I can't wait to dive in. I actually get to say that and have it mean something when we're talking about the ocean. Or how long have you been in LA area?
So I moved here in 2018 from Chicago, where we had been living for 2 years. And basically, my husband's employment gave us an opportunity to relocate our family to Santa Monica, which we jumped on because we loved warm weather and ocean and West Coast lifestyle. We took it thinking we'd be here 2 or 3 years, but 6 years later, I'm still loving it, and we'd like to stay here maybe forever.
How did you get involved with Wahine Kai?
I called myself a vacation surfer for many years, always gravitating to the ocean for work and vacations and raising a family of 4 kids. We basically planned holidays where we could take surfing lessons and practice surfing on different locations from Hawaii to Australia to Spain. And we just called ourselves holiday surfers. But my dream was always to live in one place for at least a year where I could surf every day and really get good at the sport.
What is a part of the training involved to get you, up to be a better surfer?
So it's an incredibly humbling sport. It's a mix of strength and balance. I wasn't an exceptionally strong swimmer. I came to the West Coast and just said, okay, I'm going to practice every day for 20 minutes. I took a few lessons as a refresher where a coach would do some sandbar pop-ups with me where we basically practiced the pop-up stance from going from laying and paddling to popping up when you hit a wave and are going to ride down. And I worked on that every day at home on my yoga mat, on my balance board. I paddled out every day, whether it was big, small, windy, any condition, just to build up my shoulder strength and my back strength to paddle. I started surfing with other girls that I met on meetups that were also beginners like me, and we watched each other and gave each other tips. You popped up too fast, too soon, too late, too slow, and it was just something that gradually evolved. But let me tell you, I was the biggest kook out there. I really had a huge learning curve. I felt quite confident saying, "Oh yeah, I've surfed all kinds of places," and felt like I knew what I was doing. But until I wanted to surf with the big kids, so to speak, I realized that I had so much to learn.
Back to your comment on how that it's humbling because not only is it our physical selves, but Mother Nature takes the hand. What kind of lessons are you learning from the waves themselves?
So it's an ever-changing landscape, and we can look at the conditions and go, okay, it's, pretty small, like 2 to 3 foot. We call them ankle biter waves. We can get an idea. Learning knowledge is a big part of it. Learning to read the waves. Are they breaking left? Are they breaking right? Which direction are you going to go? You need to understand what the wind is doing. Are they open face waves? Are they closeouts, which just smash down and will wash machine you underneath so you go tumbling with your surfboard? So basically, knowledge was power. I read a lot of books on surfing and wind and weather, and I started doing something that changed significantly the way I surf. I started surfing with girls that were way better than me, meeting people that was kind of the old feeling of, oh, I don't want to go to a gym till I'm super fit. I didn't want to surf with other people until I really knew what I was doing. But I just, swallowed my pride and said, if these girls are good, they've surfed for years, they're California girls, I'm going to paddle out with them and watch what they do and sit with them. And they really took me under their wing and said, as the wave was approaching, go left, go right, and coached me. And just by watching what they did and learning through the way that they took off on waves or turned in after the end of a ride, I really learned so much. So don't be afraid to go out with people, to be that kook. Kook is a word that we use to describe someone that doesn't know what they're doing in the surf lineup, kind of like bringing a tricycle to a skate park and you don't know, someone's going to come up and go, you don't belong here, you're going to get hurt. So being a kook is part of surfing, where you'll do goofy things because you don't know the rules of etiquette for surfing, or you don't exactly know how to control your board or control your weight on the board. Just, swallow your pride and go out, because practice does make perfect, or it certainly makes improvement.
So these are things that we have to learn, and how cool to be with a group of other like-minded women. At what point did you join Wahine Kai?
I went on the internet to look for other surf meetups, always trying to seek out girls in the lineup that would surf in my area. And I found a club that was based in Orange County called Wahine Kai Women's Surf Club. And that appealed to me because it can be a bit intimidating paddling into a predominantly male sport with a bunch of big boys and being the only woman out there. So I like the idea of meeting like-minded women that could surf. And I reached out to them and asked if they had anyone in Los Angeles area, and it turns out they had a few people. So we created a chapter for Los Angeles and started meeting up at the local beaches. I just liked their philosophy. Wahine Kai, it translates, it's Hawaiian for Women of the Sea. And this was a nonprofit organization that's dedicated to connecting women who basically love to surf or want to learn to surf. Maybe they've taken one lesson and go, I love this. How do I get into this sport? And so they join us, and we basically have both a set and a casual schedule of connecting people to meet up at different beaches, to surf together, to have happy hours, to do beach cleanups, to have potlucks and surf contests. I mean, there's girls in my club that are pro surfers, and there's other girls that had only surfed once in their life or wanted to take a lesson, or their daughter took a lesson. And so it's such a diverse group, but it's all inclusive.
I love the fact that not only is it something you do for sport, but I liked how you said, even like beach cleanups and these other kind of community activated events where it's just sharing a meal together. What is that experience like when you gather and you're not on your boards?
Let me tell you, I have an instant group of friends around me that range in age from 19 to mid 60s. And it's fantastic to be in a diverse group of women that, although everyone brings something different to the table, we all are passionate about the ocean, recreational surfing, any kind of water sports, anything that's even surf culture related. We go to some surf themed film festivals. We have a subgroup called Skater Girls, which is we use the Carver skateboards, which have a rotating truck on the front, and they simulate surfboard movement rather than the traditional skateboard that's a longboard you just kind of kick off and go straight ahead. Here you actually get to carve. So when the waves aren't good or the sea is flat, we basically get on our Carver skateboards and we go up and down the strand at sunset, and it's a great way to surf on land, basically. We have crafternoons where we use reclaimed wood or stones or things from nature and make crafts or make gifts for people. That's just a lot of fun.
And how many women are in the LA chapter right now?
Well, OC and LA combined, we have 355 members. So because we are so close together, we don't segregate the two. When there's an event going on in San Diego or Orange County, we often will rent vans and drive down together to those events and vice versa. We just did 2 big film premieres for Maya and the Wave, and we brought a lot of people in from Orange County and San Diego up to LA. So combined, we have 355s. You can imagine how big some of our events are. We literally take over the beach, and the male surfers are going, "Where did all the girls come from?" And it's so
I
fun to surf with friends that you're comfortable with. And it's such a fun atmosphere.
like you said, take over the beach and shake the norm. If it has been predominantly male dominated, well, why the heck not? Should we? And to take on new challenges, but to do it together. So you're at 355 with Orange County and LA combined. Is there like a goal? Do you want it, like, how big can you get and have it be logistically feasible?
We promote it through word of mouth. So our goal is not to have the biggest club, it's to have the best club where people want to join. You get out of it what you put into it. People want to get involved. We encourage people to create their own mini events. So someone might have a barbecue and send out an invitation one day. Someone else may do a beach cleanup at a specific cove another day. So it's really about events. And what we found is we've gotten so much attention, a lot through media and some magazine write-ups. Now we're creating different chapters around the US. So we, as well as OC, LA, and San Diego, we also have a chapter in San Francisco, one in Maine, one in St. Augustine, Florida, one in Hawaii. And there's a few girls that have moved on to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, and they're talking about creating a chapter. We invite any girls that are interested and motivated to start their own chapter and give them access to our websites. And our basically the only guideline is that they just stick to our vision, which is really diverse and accepting group of women with one collective vision of love of surfing and the sea in a non-supportive and non-judgmental environment. So, I mean, who wouldn't want to adhere to that? It's fantastic. Our memberships are very inexpensive. We charge $15 a year for a membership, and that just basically gives you access to all the events that we host, and we have surfboard raffles 4 times a year and all kinds of other things like that.
You can't even get a Netflix membership for a month for $15. That's incredible.
Well, we run as a not-for-profit, so we've had very generous sponsorships that donate surfboards to us, or different organizations that have donated boating tours where they'll take a group of our surfers out to rogue waves outside the coast and they can surf. So give and it comes back to you.
These are such incredible gifts to give the world and a good reminder for everybody.
When you do what you love, you truly find your community. One of the things we found, we had women who had a lot of free time at home or beach time, but they had young children and they thought, oh, I'd really like to get into surfing. Do you ever do beginner meetups on the weekends? And what we did out of demand was created Surf Mamas, which is a group of mothers with young children, not in school yet usually, and they go down to the beach and they watch each other's children play in the sand while they take turns surfing. So everyone gets a chance to surf. The kids love being at the beach and playing together, and it's a mini community within our bigger community.
Right? Kids love to play at the beach typically. And if you have your friends and your micro community like helping you do something in that space, that must be a real wonderful outlet as well.
Yes, no matter where you are in every phase of your life, and believe me, I've been there with young children, with teenagers that don't want to go with you and do what you do, you can always find some source or some kind of balance where you find the things that they love to do and that you love to do and try and make it work together. I've been lucky to have an incredible supportive partner for almost 30 years, and he's also a very passionate sailor. He's not as passionate about surfing, but that's okay. We both love the things that the ocean life gives us, whether it's walks together on the beach or a little cryotherapy where we run and jump in the ocean on the coldest day and try and stay under for 10 minutes. Or if you read about the benefits of being in the water, it would blow your mind. Obviously, the being in the moment and meditative benefit, but also for health. You naturally absorb magnesium through your skin when you're swimming in the water, and you get the grounding benefit of walking in the sand. There's so many good benefits from being in the ocean or being near the water, and I really encourage anyone who says, "Oh, I'm scared of the ocean," or I don't like sharks," to at least feel that wet sand and walk along the edge of the ocean and listen to the sounds of the waves crashing, because it is life-changing. You will sleep better, you will digest better, you will feel better. I strongly encourage it.
Even if I don't participate, I feel like alive just watching that kind of like activity and the people going for it big time.
I have to say, with a lot of sports, you get a big thrill out of watching other people do them. Maybe that's why I become catatonic when the Olympics are on. I'm just amazed at the sports and what people can accomplish and do. I know from surfing, it's the one sport that I do that people stand on the beach who don't know me and take pictures or ask me questions when I get out of the water, which is really a flattering and humbling feeling.
We've talked a lot about what this community, what this sport, what the water means to you. And now I'd like to kind of switch gears, but also stay in that space and talk about living with purpose. And what does that mean to you? These are things that are common threads on this show. And I'd love to hear your perspective on all that.
Living with purpose, to me, I really feel at the end of my life, I'm not going to go, "Wow, I'm so glad I had such a beautiful collection of shoes in the closet." I think I'm going to look back and see all the people that came through my life, whether it's the obvious family and parents and siblings and spouse and children, and also the friends and the community that surrounded me throughout my life. I really think, for me, practicing minimalism, I call myself a practicing minimalist, but an enthusiastic experience maximalist, which means I practice not consuming and acquiring and wasting goods, and instead put my energy into good experiences, experiences that bring me joy, experiences which includes servicing other people and other people's needs, to really create a spiritual joy that gets me excited to get out of bed every day. A, I have a big chalkboard in my kitchen. When my children were younger, it was filled with their activities, but now it's just filled with all the things we're looking forward to, the people coming to visit us, sailing trips coming up, surf trips coming up, travel. To me, I I can't wait for the next day to come and the next day and the next day, because I'm always looking forward to this amazing array of things that my life brings me.
The one main thing I want to hit home before our time is up today is I love the idea of practicing minimalist, but an experiential maximalist. That is just such an incredible thing to simmer on. What would you recommend for someone who is trying to change that mindset to be a little bit more of either one of those things?
Well, I heard something that I'll paraphrase for you, probably poorly, but I'll still attempt it. I heard that the Dalai Lama had explained happiness as coming from two sources. One was the joy and happiness from instantly acquiring something. It could be when we feel good when we get a new haircut, or your nails painted, or you buy something new, or you paint your bedroom, or whatever. Something that you get that instantly gives you this little bout of happiness. And then there's the other type of happiness, which comes from truly being spiritually content, at ease, in love, whether it's with your yoga teacher that gave a great class, or the song that you're listening to on the radio, or your partner or your family, or the lady that smiled at you in the supermarket and told you dropped your keys, and these true happy moments that give you deep contentment. And we need both of those kinds of happiness in our life. We need happiness from a true spiritual source, and we need happiness from the temporary day-to-day, acquiring excitement, happiness. But if you don't have the true spiritual happiness, you will always look for the little things. And one way some people tend to do this is by keep acquiring. Okay, I'll go shopping and I'll get something new and now I'm happy. And that's very temporary. It doesn't last long. So they get into a pattern of doing it over and over and over again to keep finding that fulfillment, happiness. But when you do have the other type and you start to deepen your relationships and your recognition of gratitude for all the things that bring you true inner peace and joy, whether it's running or swimming or surfing or hugging your children every morning or calling your mom and dad and hearing them so excited to hear your voice. If you have that, then you will easily be able to recognize that you don't need the other stuff. You can walk through a store with all new clothes and say, you know what? I'm comfortable in what I'm wearing and I don't need this today. And just practice in little steps, giving away things that don't serve you anymore. I recently downsized and moved, and I love to cook and we love to entertain, but we literally could give away 50% of what was in our kitchen and easily live minimalistically with the basics that were left over, because you don't need a whole bunch of stuff, or you don't need to continually buy the newest and the latest and the greatest to be satisfied.
Well, before our time wraps, anything new on the horizon? What's on the board? What's on your board of coming up next?
October is a very exciting month. My husband has a trade show in Europe, so he's actually going to Paris next week. But beforehand, he's tacking on a couple of days to visit his extended family in Germany. So, since he's gone for 10 days, my sister from Canada is coming to visit me, and I've overplanned all kinds of fun experiences while she's here, including we're going to be contestants on The Price is Right. We're going to see a movie premiere in Hollywood and a few other crazy things. She also wants me to push her into a wave on the surfboard, so I'm going to get my beginner foamy out and give her a lesson. The week after that, oldest son comes home and he will be visiting us in California with his girlfriend. And the week after that, I'm going to Oahu with 5 of my sisters, which is what we call each other when we surf together. And we're going to go surfing.
What a month. That is fantastic. It's been such an incredible joy to have you on the show today. Thank you for sharing your passions with us and your wisdom and your energy that hopefully, just like this entire conversation, has put a smile on my face. I hope that the people on the receiving end of these words walk away going, yeah, it's a good day. So thank you, Susan. It's been wonderful.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Speaking of Phenomenal. Be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and even share the podcast, as well as stay tuned for more inspiring conversations. Remember, each and every one of you is capable of extraordinary things. Until next time, take care and remember, you are phenomenal.